Good morning, everyone. Good morning. While everyone's getting their seat, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to day 2 of Design ADAC Spring Market. I'm Katie, General Manager here at ADAC. Before we get started, whose phone's on? Put those phones on silent. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to grab a copy of our event guide. There's lots of important information in here, including information about other events that are coming up this week. But most importantly, as you all probably know, who come to this market every year, this is the market that we celebrate our Southeast Designers and Architect of the Year. And tonight is the finalist celebration that will be held at May Goods, and anyone is welcome to attend and meet all of the finalists. And then tomorrow night, we will award the award winner for each of those categories. But if you want to see a look back at the event last year, all the award winners and some of the fun we had at the party, check out the back of the event guide. In this event guide, too, you will find all of the social media handles for our speakers on stage, our media partners, our showroom partners, and, of course, ADAC. Our handle is at ADAC Atlanta, and we use the hashtag DesignADAC this week. Post lots of pictures and videos and reels and all that fun stuff, but make sure you tag us because we'll share everything and show the world how much fun we're having at Design ADAC this week. So I want to thank today's media partner, that's Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles. Our showroom partner today is Tebow. We're going to go to Tebow after this presentation for a reception, and that's going to be in Suite 140. And before I turn things over to Lauren, as many of you know, if you've come to this event, if I have an opportunity to tell a little personal tidbit, then I will. And so today, I'm honored to have Sally on stage today. Not to take away from these two incredibly talented designers, Elaine and Clary, but I'm from Macon, and Sally has a wonderful, just amazing, talented design business and retail store in Macon. My mother is here. She is dear friends with Sally, my sister as well. And we were honored to have a house decorated by Sally. My mom worked with Sally later and when I was off at college. But Sally is a lot of the reason I'm here today because she truly introduced me to the world of design. So y'all are in for a real treat. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Lauren Iverson with Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles.
Ooh, thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. We have a full house today. Thanks for joining us and getting up and making the trek. I'm really excited for this conversation today. We're talking about something that feels particularly relevant in today's world, which is, that tension between personal expression and the influence that platforms are increasingly having in what we like and ultimately what becomes part of our home. So today we're going to explore kind of what it really means to create a house that feels authentic, one that reflects a life, not just a look. And we couldn't have a better panel up here to discuss it with these 3 very dynamic women who I will introduce. First, we have Sally Drawn, and I'll keep these short and sweet. Sally brings decades of experience to her work, pairing thoughtful design expertise with a genuinely collaborative approach that puts each client's vision first. Her business, Previews, Interiors, Antiques, has grown through a loyal word-of-mouth following, which has since expanded into more than 200,000 Instagram followers, which we will talk about later. But we've got a little Instagram famous women here. And across a wide range of budgets and projects, she creates beautiful, personalized spaces and is known for making the process as enjoyable as the finished home. Next, we have Elaine Griffin, who is a celebrated interior designer known for creating warm, layered spaces that feel as personal as they are polished, a trailblazer in the industry. I loved these facts that I saw online. She was the first African-American contributing editor at Elle Decor, the first designer of color featured in the Kip Spade Decorator Show House, and has completed countless homes, including 11 home makeovers for Oprah's O at Home, which is particularly fascinating. With a career spanning New York to coastal Georgia, best-selling authorship, and national TV appearances, her work continues to shape how people create homes that feel truly like their own. And of course, last but not least, we have Clary Bosby-Shell, who's an Atlanta-based designer who grew up immersed in the design world, developing her eye through antique markets, galleries, and fabric studios. After studying design in Italy and working in fashion merchandising, which we can all tell why, right. She spent a decade at her mother's firm before launching her own in 2019, where she creates timeless layered interiors known for their elegant mix of antiques and collected pieces. So welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I'd love to just start the conversation by kind of grounding us in your personal journey. So if you could begin by telling us about the evolution of your own design eye and maybe some experiences that really shaped your aesthetic throughout your career. Sally, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Through the years, I've learned that the most important thing first is to communicate with my client. Get into their thoughts, their ideas. It's my job to learn what makes them comfortable and happy and elevate their ideas and then put it all together. I have learned that surprises in every room are important. You don't want to be bored in your house. You want to mix it up. Mix up contemporary, traditional, and be pleased with the overall look. But I love to walk into a room and say, there's an acrylic rocking chair right next to a traditional sofa. I love the look. It's fun. We should be unpredictable all the time. Thanks.
I need to see an acrylic rocking chair. I've never seen one in real life.
I have one in my house.
Okay, well, send us some pictures after the panel.
It's been on homework.
I love it. I'll find it online.
Yeah, look at it.
Elaine, what about you? Can you tell us the evolution of your design eye?
I would say that we call it an educated eye because it's educated, which implies that there's a learning curve. So the way I'm a third generation teacher. And so there's always an educational aspect. I want to leave my clients better than I found them. And the way that you improve your eye is to see everything. Because you always have a personal style that speaks to you, that's like your favorite home base. But you grow by being open-minded and seeing all sorts of things. I had the privilege of starting my career in the New York office of Peter Marino, who I knew him before he wore leather. And he used to wear tree-torn tennis shoes and white shorts when I was still working with him. And so I had a hard time learning to love Art Deco, but I made it my point of studying it and understanding why it worked. And that was a stretch growth, but everyone can develop their eye that way.
Definitely. Clary, what about you? How's your design evolution?
So I grew up, my mother she is retired now, an interior designer. So my entire life I spent coming to ADAC and going to her clients' homes and really learning about design. And my mother has always loved antiques and had a beautiful eye for collection and really part of her design aesthetic was really partnering with the client to make the home reflect them and their lifestyle. And so I have taken a lot of her design practices and then kind of put my own design aesthetic on them, but really a foundation of traditional and having the client, the home reflect the client and not me, and be very personal. And I like to get to know the client kind of before we start the design process and ask, do you have dogs? Do you have kids? Like, how do you like to live in your home? What are your favorite colors? I like to look at what they're wearing. Where do they like to travel? What really makes them happy? So then when I'm giving a design presentation for them, it works for their life.
Definitely. Now we're going to get into the whole originality versus algorithm kind of conversation. But before we do that, I do kind of just want to establish how you guys do layering in your own projects, because I think each of you do them so well with the layers that you put in, and it feels really authentic. So I know you've all worked on some incredible homes. I imagine that a few really stay with you after the fact. So what is one that maybe stands out to you for being uniquely its own and really personality driven? And can you tell us a little bit about it? Elaine, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I would say a mother loves all her children. So you're asking a hard question for us. So it's not that I have a favorite, but all of them are memorable for something. And I did Bonnie Pressman's divorce home when she divorced Gene Pressman, the owner of Barney's.
Oh, wow.
And so it was her, that's her bedroom, right? Actually, that's her den. And so she was my couture client, and she really appreciated the details because, she wore couture, so she understood it. And then she had a tremendous friend list. Karl Lagerfeld would come over for dinner, so you would think about Carl's going to be looking at this. What is he going to think about this rug? And we flat fell seamed her curtains. They were wool chalice, and we flat fell seamed them just because we wanted them to be pretty inside as out. And that was the one client that I've ever had who would appreciate that attention to detail.
That's awesome.
So she's one of my favorites.
I love it. Sally, how about you? Do you have a project that maybe you've worked on in the past that sticks out to you as something that really felt personal and unique to its homeowner?
I love them all, but one that sticks, and it's my favorite thing to get started from the get-go. I went with this client to see the lot the house was going to be built on. Had a say in the house plans. Then you can really get to the detail that way. This was in Naples, where Jeannie lives, and my client appreciated wonderful fabrics and wonderful things. I bought the biggest antique Ushak I've ever bought that was 40 feet long for this house.
Wow.
Wow.
It was incredible. I had imported tiles put on the risers of the staircase. We have a fountain in the living room.
Oh my gosh.
The bathroom floor looks like you're stepping into the ocean.
Wow.
The whole house is incredible, and it reflects my client's personality. She's a wonderful person, loves wonderful things, and appreciates fine fabrics. So the fabrics we use on the furniture and on the windows are all incredible, and she's not afraid to step out of the box and put leopard with tiger. I love animal prints. Love them. And my clients sometimes say, are they ever going out of style? Don't you think they're going out of style this year? Never. They've been here since the beginning, and they're going to be here as long as I live, I'm sure. So it's just, I had so much fun with that.
I love it. Mark her words. Animal prints are a neutral,
They
right?
are.
Yes.
They are a new.
We all know it. Clary, how about you? Is there a project that sticks out to you?
Like we all said, we love all of our clients and our projects. I've had the wonderful opportunity of getting to work with my very best friend, and she absolutely loves interior design and the attention to detail, and we have been working on her home for about 7 years. It is finally complete. We got to kind of work on the evolution of the house in several stages, and had the wonderful opportunity to work with Norman Askins, and John Howard did the landscaping. My best friend is very adventuresome, loves color, believes in the layering process that just takes a lot of time for someone young to really achieve. And so I can't wait to hopefully finally photograph this project this summer and get to share it with everyone, because it's been incredible to get to work on it.
I love it. Well, all of these projects probably have something in common with them, which I'm not the expert to know what that would be. But, I'd love to get into kind of what authenticity feels like as you're entering a home and how you experience it in a space. So when you're walking into a home, perhaps it's one of these projects that you just mentioned, what truly feels authentic and tells you immediately, like, this is a really unique home. And on the flip side, what's perhaps missing when you walk into a space and it feels like it's falling a little bit flat rather than lived in? Clary, I'm going to come to you first.
I think just beginning to collaborate with an architect just on millwork, on hardware, on just the design details of the room itself is kind of the very beginning of the layer, and then taking those aspects and then highlighting them and just continuing to layer and layer. I mean, I think the most beautiful interiors, there's just a lot to look at, from everything from the hardware to the flooring to the drapery to the wallpaper. And I think that really makes it all very special and, work well together. And you can tell that a lot of thought was put into it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't know it's missing until you see it with those
Right.
extra things. You're like, wow, that's so amazing. Like
Right.
just a simple, piece of hardware that stands out. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this is so beautiful and this is kind of making this space as a conversation starter.
Right.
Elaine, how about you?
I wrote a book called Design Rules, but the one rule that I will never break is that houses should look like the people who live in them.
Yes.
Whoever they may be. Because not everybody is a stylish person. However, that's our job to bring a little bit more. I think that three things go into the recipe for authenticity. It's a combination of where you've been. Think about this on your own personal journeys. Where you've been, start with the house that you grew up in, where you went to college, what the rooms looked like, where you've been, where you're at, not proper English, but where you are realistically in your life. Like little kids, not a big moment for expensive furniture. And where you're going, and that's the aspirational part of it. And that's what we do best, because that's the most fun part for us, the aspirational part of it. And when you combine those three things, you nail authenticity every time.
Absolutely. Sally, do you have anything you'd like to add on that?
Yes, I think it's very true. Get into your clients' wishes, no matter what their taste or who they are. I have a fabulous client in Macon. She's also a very good friend of mine. She wears Chanel anytime you see her out. She has a flair of dress that not many people could achieve. It's very unusual, her taste, but she knows what she likes. She's not afraid to tell me what she likes. She just doesn't know how to put it together. She likes bling, and she likes bling everywhere. We have...
And you give her bling
I
everywhere.
give her bling,
That's your job.
and I have taken her bling up some levels. We have pillows on her sofas with gold embroidery in them. I mean, this is sophisticated bling. But her chandeliers have lots of crystals on them, all of them do. This is her personality. In her foyer, we have flocked wallpaper. This is what she wanted, and we took it to the next level, and her house is absolutely fabulous. It reflects who she is.
I want to have a party at her house.
I know. I've been to several, and she knows how to have a party.
I
bet she does.
And I want to say the saddest thing I hear when I finish a home and I say, you need to celebrate this and have a party here. And they'll say, but I don't want to mess it up. And I think, why did we do this? A house is to be lived in.
I love that. Well, Elaine, you made a point in your answer just now that not everybody is stylish.
The way we define it.
Yes, exactly. So I feel like today, what you're seeing a lot online is, these kind of ChatGPT created images, and then people are like, I want this, and it's this perfectly created photo that maybe isn't very realistic, or maybe it's very trend driven or so. So when you guys are talking to your clients and maybe they're bringing you these Pinterest photos, these AI created images, and saying, this is exactly what I want, how do you approach those conversations with them to make it guide them into maybe a more authentic, less trend driven, less perfectly poised aesthetic? Do you want to start?
Yes.
Tell us more.
I have code for that. And so I start with, are you going to like that in 5 years? Are you sure it's going to grow with you? And then my job is for them to prevent them from making mistakes. So if they really insist and it really is wrong, I will say, it's my professional opinion that you should not put that color sofa there. And then, but it's my job to make them happy. So if I say it's my professional opinion that you should not do that, and they say, but we really want it, and then I'm like, well, knock yourself out. And we'll make the best of what we can do with it. So
You can't win. You got to choose your battles, right?
you have to choose your battle. And husbands can be the worst at that with their choice in upholstery sometimes.
There you go. Clary, what about you? How do you kind of guide those conversations with clients?
I do ask my clients when we're kind of in the first stages of, the design, to please send me any inspirational photos, whether it's from social media, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever they are getting their inspiration. And I do kind of find within those photos usually a common narrative that I can kind of pull out of these particular photos. And I think in our business, education is so important to the client of why did you hire a designer, and what is it that you want me to do? And I educate the client saying it is my job to create this home to look like you, not your best friends, not
your Pinterest
your Pinterest board. We will make your home Pinterest worthy or worthy of your friends to come over, but let's not just you know, it's right. Like, let's do some interesting things in your home, and like, let me push you a little bit. Do you trust me to do that? And if they're uncomfortable doing that, I think that's kind of a bigger conversation of, why did you hire a designer in the first place then? Because
Right.
I think it's, important. That's our job, is to create something that's really unique.
Certainly.
That's what I usually do.
Sally, have you ever experienced anything like that where someone's coming to you with a more trend-driven or kind of cookie-cutter look that they're expecting?
Absolutely. And like these two talented women have already said, it's my job to make it like them and elevate their taste. I tell them that the least expensive way, things that can be changed easily and not break your budget, is paint. Color drenching now, painting, molding, different colors is big. That's a trend people can afford to go with and not feel like they've wasted their money.
That they're committed to it.
That's
It's not
right.
a lifetime commitment.
Exactly. Paint is the least expensive thing you can do. And then when I have people come in and say, I have to have a whole white room. I want all my furniture white. I want this, I want that. And I say, what about this chest your grandmother left you? What is over here stuck in the room she calls her storage room? I said, let's bring some life to this room. Let's bring some interest. Don't discard all these wonderful antiques, wonderful porcelain that you have. Let's make it all work together. There's nothing more fun than, to me, having a very eclectic house.
Absolutely. I saw this video recently on Instagram, and I can't remember who the designer was, but they had basically they used AI to do it, but they took some of their photos of these really kind of eclectic spaces like you're talking about, and then they're like, here's what it looks like with just white walls. And it felt like the life was taken out. So all the wallpaper and the paint and the color was gone, and it's just white walls, and it's still beautiful, but it's not the same as when, you just kind of go for it and have the confidence to go a little bold. I love that. Well, while we're on the subject of trends, as we look at the current landscape of interiors, I feel like there are some patterns that are emerging. Like you said, color drenching is really big right now, and just having a little bit more fun in your interiors. So what would you guys say feels maybe a little overrepresented right now in the trend circuit, and what do you find yourself maybe craving more of instead?
The color beige.
Say it again for the people in the back.
No more beige. No more beige. If I hear one more person saying, I want a neutral room, I'm just like, no, neutral. I love neutral and natural. And no. And I think you see a lot of that on Pinterest, just like very beige, very white, very, very light. And that just is going to look dated very soon, I think.
Yeah. Sally, what about you? What do you feel?
She took the words out of my mouth. I'm so tired of white throughout the house. And again, color is back.
It's coming back. It's not there yet. It's on its way back.
When you paint the whole house white, it's just, as you said, very lifeless. We can always bring color in on the walls. Wallpaper is back bigger than anything. I mean, wallpaper is here to stay, I think, for a while. I remember several years ago when everybody did have the white houses and they were the biggest trend ever. I didn't see wallpaper. I didn't even have a wallpaper book in my shop. And now it's covered with wallpaper books and wallpaper samples. And that's what I'm getting a lot of calls for these days. And it adds so much interest to a home.
Definitely. And wallpaper doesn't always have to mean, super colors, super traditional and such. I know Thibaut has their more streamlined collections now of fabrics and wallpaper as well that gives more of a modern look too. So you can have best of both worlds in that sense too these days. It doesn't have to be all flowery and pretty in that sense. Clary, what about you? What do you think?
I think a trend that's a little hard for me is there's been these beautiful, iconic, old school fabrics that you just see all the time. And it's hard for me to want to pull from them because they're so oversaturated. And I understand why the fabric houses are pushing them. It's to introduce younger people to these iconic fabrics, but it's hard when it's just absolutely everywhere for me to then want to particularly use some of these old school pieces. In my slideshow, I've got one, it's Brunswick and Fee Bird and Thistle. It is the most beautiful wallpaper ever. I absolutely love it. But I feel like every time I open my phone, it's everywhere. And so how can I use that in a way that is a little bit different than, my, other people on social media? So I feel
How
like
can't
those
you?
are, trend. I mean, what I did is I painted all the trim, kind of a light blue within the space. It'll come up to kind of bring a little bit of the blue that was in the gray paper out. And I thought that was a new way of using the paper. But I find that hard. It's this space right here. I think this was kind of maybe a little new way to reuse this kind of old school pattern. But it's just some of those iconic prints like this, I think, are hard to use a little bit sometimes because they're everywhere. Do you all agree with that?
I completely agree.
Well, we're kind of on this talk of social media and all of that, and I think many of us, myself included, every single day, have fallen down the Pinterest or Instagram rabbit hole at some point, especially when it comes to these really beautiful kind of picture-perfect interiors. So, in your guys' opinion, what do you feel like gets lost when we're relying too heavily on these just perfectly curated images to define what our style is?
Personality, personal to the client, for sure. I feel like so many of those, people don't understand, those are staged. I've had my home photographed before, and I know how they move things around and to make the room look perfect. No lamp cords, no this, no that. And a lot of those rooms are curated from things people have found around the world, which is wonderful, but it's hard to go in and absolutely replicate that. But there are so many beautiful fabrics out there to use. And I want my houses, as we've said, to look personal to my clients. I love family photographs on surfaces. I don't use many of them on walls unless it's in a hallway, but I love photographs, whether they're your friends, their children, grandchildren. I think they bring a lot of personality into a house. And I don't like to walk into a room, as you see so much on Instagram, where there are pillows everywhere. I want to walk in, and I want my clients to walk in and be able to sit on a sofa or in a chair without having to move everything that's there. I mean, I'm careful about that in my design. I think either 2 big pillows on a sofa or a medium one and a small one, that's more than enough right there. And I rarely put pillows in chairs unless the chair is really deep or unless it's a lumbar pillow. It's just something that's not necessary. You want people to come in your home, feel like they can plop down and be careful. My idea and my goal with every house I do is casual elegance. You need to enjoy your home. You need to be able to sit down, put your feet up, just enjoy it and live in it and make your guests feel welcome. And have a table by every chair so people can put their wine down.
Yeah.
Always have a great table. So I think that's what works best for me.
Yeah, Elaine, Clary, do y'all have anything to add?
I think that there's a place for Pinterest because one of the ways that if I have a new client that I've never worked with before and I don't really know, asking them to do their own Pinterest board of looks that they like, upholstery that they like, shapes that they like, really just, dividing everything by topic, not necessarily an overall room, although show me those too. They're like tarot cards for interior designers.
Yes.
Because you might not be able to see, what does this say about me? But if you bring me 20 pictures of rooms that you like, we can figure out, it's like a tarot card reader. We can figure out who you are from that, and that gives us a place to start. But replicating on rooms that you've seen on Pinterest is a no-no.
Yeah, absolutely. Come to Elaine and you can see your future of design. That's what it sounds like. Clary, anything you'd like to add?
I mean, a lot of times when I begin a project, I do ask the client for the Pinterest board and everything, but I start, social media to me is a wonderful tool. I use it, I love it. But I find it to sometimes be overwhelming. There's a lot thrown at you between skincare and, whatever it
Fits,
is, just
travel,
everything.
everything.
And there's so many people giving you so many different opinions on that I kind of go back to old school. I get out my design books, I come to ADAC, I look at paint wheels. I mean, I really kind of start without so much of photos, but really kind of the spaces, the plans, fabrics, and kind of antiques, like build the room without having so much noise all around me. And I do find that helps kind of my creative process. And if I am thinking like, I wonder, I need to see a room where the bed is on this wall and the curtain's done like this, then I'll, go to a reference point on social media to try and see like, oh, okay, that actually does look good, or no, that doesn't look right at all. But I try and start kind of really at the basics.
Well, I think that's what people sometimes these days consider old school, and I'd love to talk more about that actually with Elaine and Sally about where are some places that people can go outside of social media to find inspiration and more of kind of this worldly point of view when it comes to design. Where would you recommend?
Coffee table books are wonderful.
Yes.
And you can take your time with them. You can go back, you can mark your pages, go back and look and study. I think coffee table books and magazines, I think, are invaluable tools. And it's so much fun to collect these books. They're beautiful in your home, and then to go back and really look at them.
And show houses. You have one going on
Yes.
right now.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Through
The
May 10th.
Southeastern Show House happening right now, which is a gorgeous show house this year. Yes, if you have not seen it, it is worth getting on a shuttle bus to go see.
So everybody get online and buy your tickets. I'm watching you.
It's open till when?
It's open till May 10th, Thursdays through Sundays through May 10th. Yes. Well, I love that. I'm all for every single one of those, including the show house. Well, we've talked a lot about the challenges of AI and online habits and such, but I do kind of want to flip the script a little bit and talk about maybe how you use some of these tools, whether it be social media or AI, to benefit you in your business and your creative process. So, Elaine, I know that you are maybe the one who's using some things here, so tell us more about what that looks like for you.
We talked about this before. I was like, you don't use AI. So Midjourney, which is amazing for making images. And as I put in prompts,
Write that down.
well, right? You got to get Midjourney Pro, because Midjourney Pro gives you a higher resolution image. And I put in the prompts, design a living room, and I gave the colors and I gave the layout. And then I said, in the style of New York, because I still lived in New York at the time, in the style of New York interior designer Elaine Griffin, so that the bots would scrub my website. And it looked like a room that I would do. There was one thing off. I didn't like one lamp, but I was like, oh my gosh, I love this room. It looked really good. So I used Midjourney Pro. Everybody uses ChatGPT, which is great. A new one that I just started with is Nano Banana, and that's from Google, and that's really great. It's kind of like Photoshop for images. And then one that the big architectural firms are using for renderings is Render Air, like Render AIR, and that one is the most professional one I found.
Okay, I love that. Well, write it down, everyone. Elaine's the one to talk to if you need it. Now, you said ChatGPT, and I'm curious, kind of, what are you putting in these prompts to aid in your creative process for something like that? Because I don't know, does ChatGPT spit out images to you, or?
No, I use
Okay.
that one for words.
That's right.
That one's just for inspiration for any time that you need a word thing or
Yep.
you need to run your words by. It's a fabulous editor. I think that ChatGPT is like the best editor. You still have to fix it. You can't rely on the finished process. It doesn't give you a finished project, but it gives you some direction to go in for editing.
Definitely. Okay. Well, Clary, Sally, I know that you guys are not using AI, but you are very prominent on social media. Sally, we were talking about this earlier. You have over 200,000 Instagram followers.
How did you do that? That's huge.
And we learned that
really
she's
know.
only grown that in the last 2.5 years.
Yes.
So tell us more about your social media journey. I'd love to learn about it.
Well, When I first started it, the people in my shop said, you need to be more lively. Everybody on site, and I'm just, not a jump around person. And so I think it worked to my advantage because I was different than other people on social media. And I really care about my followers. I'm so flattered that people actually follow me. I never expected it to grow so fast. And it's just a real compliment to me.
What do you do? Like, how often do you post?
I post twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. I was doing homes both days, but then I have a little cookbook, so I kind of got into some how-tos and some cooking and that kind of thing on Tuesday. And on Fridays, it's houses that I've done. And they're all over the place. I've been lucky enough through Instagram to get jobs. Palm Beach, just lots and lots and lots of places. And I'm so flattered that these people actually, what I did to my microphone, I'm so flattered that these people actually want to work with me. And it just is the biggest compliment. And so I go through and I show, like I was just in Ponte Vedra doing some videos at a house I'd done there, or actually a condominium.
So you show the rooms.
I show the rooms, and I go through, like this house is 7 videos, and they're all short, they're 90 seconds. And so I started in the foyer, and then I get to the living room and the dining room, and then outside, so forth, that kind of thing. It's fun.
I fell down a rabbit hole on your Instagram the other day, and it is fabulous, so you all should look. I think you had a video recently about cooking or baking a loaf of bread from your cookbook or something, and I was like, I need the recipe. Where's this cookbook? I need to get this. But it is fabulous. Now, Clary, you also are very prominent on social media. I know a lot of people are using your images as their Pinterest board, inspiration, vibe, and it's kind of transformed into something, where you're doing your fashion thing on there as well. So tell us more kind of about how you're utilizing social media to your benefit.
I in the past few years have not utilized it as well as I could have. I, in the beginning was really active on Instagram. I've found the more Instagram has changed, the harder the landscape is to navigate a little bit with making reels and videos. I have a babysitter that was babysitting. I'm like, can you make this reel for me? Like I said, I love Instagram. I am 5 years behind on photographing projects because it's taken that long to really get them to where I would like to show them. So have a nice New Year's resolution in my phone that is talking about getting some things photographed to really put back out there to start sharing my work again. Most of the time, my business is really referral, and they'll say, I went to my friend's house, or I heard about you from this architect, and then I went to your Instagram, and I really liked your work, and I'd like to talk to you about my home. So I think Instagram's an amazing tool. The more it changes, I feel like the older I get, I don't understand it as much, but I also probably just need to ask for help from somebody a little younger.
I think that's a universal feeling among
Yes.
many, many people across Instagram is not knowing what the heck is going on. So I love it. Now, Elaine, you mentioned something earlier about you have one design rule that you won't break, I believe, and I want to get into that a little bit more because, rules are meant to be challenged. So I'd love to know if you guys have one rule that you think people should feel more comfortable breaking when it comes to design.
I totally have one.
Their budget.
A little louder for everyone.
She says low budget. No. And yes.
Put it in bold and underline.
No. My epitaph used to be hang your curtains as close to the ceiling line as possible. Like literally, it was a rule that I never broke. And so I find myself these days breaking that rule. They're not supposed to be on top of your windows, never that. No. That trend was starting by the people actually who made pre-made panels. That's why you started seeing things hung at that length, because it's the perfect length for a 96-inch panel. So on top of most windows. But I I find myself actually maybe doing them halfway between sometimes now, not quite allowing so much space between the top of the window and the top of the rod, because that gets a little awkward to my eye sometimes. Not always, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
I think that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love it. Clary, do you have anything, a design rule that you're like, why not? Let's break it.
I mean, I think the rules are meant to be broken. I think things are so space specific too. I mean, just like you said, I mean, if there's like 2 feet of sheetrock between the window and the crown molding, that's not going to look right to hang the drapery up that high. So I think it's just kind of room specific on whether or not you're going to break the rule or not.
Right. Sally, do you have anything you'd like to add on that?
Televisions.
Ah,
I used to, in
Oh,
the past,
yeah, we got-
just had to hide them. I mean, you can have panels with a painting, a pair of paintings that split.
A thing under the bed.
One thing I've done a lot is a 2-way mirror with a frame, but certainly not the shape of a TV. You can make it bigger, and you can actually very clearly see the TV through this mirror. I've done some Instagrams about that. And I'll put them in beautiful cabinets. I have just been worn down. People, particularly men, have to have that thing front and center, and they don't want to have to go to any trouble to
Yes.
just turn it on. So I finally just given up on that, and it just people have their TVs,
And
I
that's
just have to
okay.
deal with it. It's okay. It's their home, and they live in it.
The frame TV has helped, I think, a
It
lot.
has
I
with
think
the pictures of
yeah, I
paintings
think
that
that's
flash up. But
helped
I
us.
have done something when I've hung the rods way above the mirror and above the window, and I know what you mean about that square of sheetrock. I've done rattan shades
yep,
that
me too.
start behind the rod. And
that's a
come
very
down-
good tip.
Yep.
That
I've
come
done that
down,
too.
and cover the top part of the molding. And if they don't have to be rattan, they can be the same fabric as the windows or a coordinating fabric. But that does help that situation.
And the secret for that is you hang the top of the Roman shade right at the same level as the rod. So you can't see where the Roman shade starts.
Correct.
I love it. Well, I'm going to leave some time for questions, so this will be my last one for you guys. So before we wrap up, I do want to bring it to something practical again. And with that, if someone feels like their home is starting to feel more like a collection of images from Pinterest or Instagram or wherever it may be, rather than a reflection of their own life, how would you suggest that they begin to course correct that? Elaine, I'm going to ask you.
Slow down. If it's starting to look like Martha Stewart lives in your house, you have gone a step too far. And so if your laundry room has decanted washing detergent and with labels on everything, and it takes you 20 minutes to get to your tools for laundry, it's like take a step back and chill.
I love it. Clary?
I had a client that this kind of happened to recently, and we just kind of not started over, but just kind of upgraded a few things. Like the sofas, we're kind of giving that wrinkly restoration hardware look, and we got more of a tighter sofa. Just we kind of removed and then added. We removed some of the bad side tables and found some from William Word, and we just kind of upgraded, and that helped.
I love it. Sally?
Well, I recently went in a client's house, and each room was pretty, but she had paintings hung in random spots all the way, and nothing looked cohesive. So I took down all the art she had, took it all, and she has a big room, took it all in the living room, and made a fabulous gallery wall
that's a
that you
great
just
idea.
walk in and go,
Wow.
wow. And it just made all the difference in her home. We had a few things left that we put back in other rooms, but this gallery wall is worth having some empty walls in
Yeah, I
other places.
So you can use what you have and repurpose it.
Right, and it doesn't have to all be paintings or watercolors or prints. It can have other things in it, for instance, architectural pieces. And or small mirrors. It's just, you can be very creative with that.
I love it. Well, thank you, ladies, for your expertise. We're going to open it up to some audience questions now. Does anyone have any thing they'd like to ask our panelists? Got one right over here.
And remember, we've got a microphone, so if you'll just wait for that to get-
Third row.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're on
For our
camera
video.
today. We're videoing today, so we really need the microphone so everyone can hear your question. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for this. This is really great because it is kind of finding that balance between embracing it, but also knowing that we have to make these homes unique. So one thing I'm trying to do better at is using search engines, AI, to help with fixture searches selections. When I put in something like, I want to find a light fixture to coordinate with another one, and I'm like, maybe AI can help me with this. But what I find is I get kind of like, let's say the very low end garbage type stuff,
Right.
and I want to find something more high end. What kind of prompts do you think I could do to help guide some of that fixture selection and help with it? Because otherwise you're just going
To the
through so
trade.
much.
To the trade.
Tina Trey?
To the trade only.
Okay.
Add that into
that
the
a
prompt
website?
because if
No, that's to add to the prompt, because you don't want, or you could put wholesale,
Yep.
but to the trade.
Okay. So just kind of description of the fixture and to the trade. Okay. Excellent.
because then it's only available to the actual professionals who are serious about purchasing these. So it's a little bit more high end rather than maybe your average consumer who would be going and looking for a fixture.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, I find that Google Lens, if you go to the second or the third page, like if you do an image search, you see a great fixture, you do an image search through Google Lens, keep going to the second, the third page, because that gets you farther away. By the time you get to page 3, you're seeing better vendor, luxury vendor items, because it starts with the lowest common denominator, but gets better on pages 2 or 3. So dig deeper.
Perfect.
I will say, just to add on to that real quick, with Google Lens, I was at the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show in Orlando this year, and I saw a woman use Google Lens to find a dress that someone else was wearing.
Oh, no,
that
I've done
she
that.
loved.
I mean, I'm doing that all the time.
And I realized in that moment that you can use Google Lens to find anything. Like you said, if you see a
Anything.
fixture out there that you like and you
Yes.
snap it into Google Lens, and it's going to pull up wherever that image, or like they can find something like that or similar to that in all the websites you can get it on. So Google Lens is actually probably,
That is
I
one of the
haven't,
best tools out there.
I haven't practiced it myself, but I imagine it would be really useful.
I love Google Lens for finding lighting knockoffs, because every single fixture, 9 out of 10 fixtures that you love, if you have a project that doesn't have the budget, Amazon has a knockoff of it. That looks really good.
Everyone who's here from a showroom, close your ears.
Exactly.
All right, any other questions for our panelists? No?
We have a quiet crowd today?
We've got
Sure.
one here.
Hold on. If you'll hold on for 1 second. Let me just get to you.
Good morning. This question is for you, Sally. I love watching your cooking videos. I was hoping that you brought at least some of your cookbooks, because
Well,
I know
I appreciate that, and I need to have them reprinted. I've sold out. I had so many, and they're sold out. But I do have, if you watch, all you have to do is on the video, do comment cookbook, and you can download it for $15.
Oh,
Brilliant.
So it's there if you want it, and maybe I will get some printed. It's for those of you who are hearing this. It's not like I have a cookbook this thick. I have a cookbook about this thick, and it is It's all the recipes. You would find the ingredients pretty much in your home. They're not crazy fancy recipes. They're simple. They're delicious, and I call it begged, borrowed, and stolen, because I have begged people for their recipes, and if I get one from a friend, I'll name it Susie's Coleslaw or something like that. And I've gotten some from restaurants, and I always give credit, and some of them are mine. But it is a fun cookbook.
So I was wondering if you have, a collection of cookbooks, because one of the things is, like, have you had a client that has a lot of cookbooks and you have had to create it like a library for them? I own over 7,000 cookbooks, so that's
Oh
why
my goodness.
that's why my interest in your cookbook, just to add it to my collection.
Wow.
And then just,
You have to do
but
a top
my
10
house,
list.
the entire house is kind of like a library. So I was wondering if you have like a specific home that you have decorated with that focus.
I really haven't. I mean, I've had, libraries of just books, but not particularly cookbooks.
That's cool.
Do you just keep collecting them?
7,000 is a lot.
Is there anything off the top of your guys' head that you can think, oh, maybe this would be a good thing for the kitchen or to
Well, you
store
could-
these or
You could do a
display?
wall of bookcases in your
that
kitchen
ladder
if you
that
have
slides
the extra
on it.
space. But I don't really. 7,000's a lot.
So maybe your home is her next project and she
There
can
you
figure it out.
There you go.
I have an original copy of that cookbook, and I use it all the time to this day. It's my sister and my mother. It comes out often.
We'll come print or scan it from your house.
Hey, follow Previews Interiors, and all you have to do is comment, so it works. Anybody else? Any questions? Yeah, great.
Y'all talked a bit about personality and style. So if maybe you've gotten your first home or just starting out or haven't discovered what your design personality is, how do you find that?
I will tell you, one purchase everybody should make when they're starting out is a great chest, whether it's Italian, French, English. It's just a good anchor for any room. And don't buy things. This is what I tell all of my young clients. Don't buy something to just hold a spot. Buy it only if you think you're going to love it for a long time. Because I've been to so many houses and she say, well, I got these really cheap bedside tables and maybe in a year or so you could help me replace them. I'm thinking, that is, just put your stuff on the floor. Don't throw away money. I mean, don't be very careful in your purchases. But to find your own style, just Instagram, books.
That's where Pinterest really does help. And also look at the designers that you love, and look at their work. And that's where books really help too, because almost every designer has a monograph these days. So head to Barnes and Nobles and actually look at books.
I sell a ton of books in my shop. I have probably 50 coffee table books in there right now. So,
Anyone else?
Anyone else? Going once? Okay. All right, I can get to you.
Good morning. As a designer, how do you balance sharing your own personal style and what's authentic to you and the projects that you're doing, which are obviously authentic to your clients?
So how do you balance sharing the projects that you are personally loving compared to maybe some projects that are for your clients that maybe don't necessarily reflect your personal style as much as they would if it were your own?
Humility.
I think to get into your clients' wants and needs and elevate their taste is the best way to go about it.
Because if you identify as like a tastemaker, you put on your tastemaker hat, that's what I'm supposed to do. As opposed to here's what I would do, but here's what works best for the situation and for the people. And then approach it from that perspective. Because your job is to be the tasteful part.
And how do you balance that on social media as you're posting?
Well, think about it. You have a whole audience of people that want to see you. So you want to show everything. You can make anything look good, girl. Put an orchid on it.
I think it's, I think I would say I'm probably known for doing more traditional interiors. I have a client, Ansley Park, that veers more contemporary. And I think people like to see that you have a wide range of work. And I will say there are layered antiques in there, so maybe that's kind of the common thread in everything. But I think, people have been like, gosh, that's so cool. I didn't know that you worked on projects that are contemporary. So I think if it's pretty and, you put it out there.
I think the keywords that Clary just said are common thread. So finding a common thread perhaps through the different projects that maybe if it's not quite the reflection that you're wanting it to be, you can amp up that common thread that goes between the ones that are.
Perfect. If we don't have any more questions, I think that's perfect timing.
Yay!
Thank you, guys. So thank you so much, Lauren, and our amazing panelists today.